So we didn't get Benjamin Sesko. I think as Arsenal fans, we were slightly disappointed because he's a good player. We did a breakdown on him last week talking about why Arsenal should be excited about the prospect of signing Sesko. But I don't think he was the one everyone really wants. That guy's Alexander Isak. Whoever I talk to, it'd be Turkish on Forever Arsenal, Lee Judges, Jordan. In fact, when we did that panel discussion, go watch that on AFTV, Curtis, Babs and Christian Ty all said, yeah, Alexander Isak can be a game changer for us. So why? That's what I want to talk about in this video. But it's not just talking about how great he is. We want to explore actually why, if Isak's up here, the other targets are potentially quite a few tiers down. And that is why maybe it's worth Arsenal not maybe shying away from the reported over £100 million Isak, or Newcastle might want for Isak, and actually it's worth just doing it because quite frankly there's no one of his calibre. I'm going to try to prove that at the end of this video. But let's talk about the player, why he's brilliant. Because when you look at his profile, he's 24 years old, so he's got his best years to come. He's right-footed, he's 6'3". He plays as a striker. Bat has played out wide, particularly on the left wing before as well. And he's played at 4 senior clubs. They include Dortmund, where I think he came through the ranks. He's at Real Sociedad and now spent the last 2 seasons at Newcastle. Now, when you're talking about number 9, what do you care about? You care about goal scorer, right? What do we keep saying? Havertz isn't a natural 9. He's done well. Gabby Jesus is a more natural 9 but doesn't score goals and he misses chances. We just need a guy who does all of it. Well, Alexander Isak has some numbers that give you hope and make you think, oh, is he a bit purple patchy? Let's have a little look at his scoring rate. Because as you can see for each club and each season, you can see his total games and total goals, and you can see his league games and league goals too. What you can see from all this is essentially, you know, he's put up a 16 goal a season campaign for Sociedad, a 16 and a 17 season campaign. 2 seasons where he did get above double figures, but nothing spectacular. But 25 goals last season, all comps for Newcastle, is pretty impressive. He hit 17 in La Liga in the 2021 season and 21 goals in the Premier League campaign just gone by. So clearly has the ability to find the back of the net, and actually I think in the second half of this season in particular really showed that he can be quite devastating and dangerous as an out-and-out goal scorer, not just a player who you appreciate for everything he does, you know, on the ball, off the ball, away from the penalty area. He's got all that quality too. He's got fantastic technician. He's a great dribbler and ball carrier. He can do all those things, but he can score goals too. So let's talk a little bit about the goals that he has scored in in a Newcastle shirt. We hope he'll be in an Arsenal shirt one day, by looking at the tactical pad. Now, what I've drawn here, forget Isak for a sec, let's just move him to the side. What I've drawn here is every single goal, where it started and where it ended up from the season just gone by. That's not just in the Premier, it's every goal, but we didn't include penalties, as you can see. None from the penalty spot. Now, it's quite interesting because a pattern emerged in his goals. There are 2 types of goals you tend to see. Now, I'm going to try and highlight them. Let's do it in red. There we go. Help if that works. There we go. So you get a cluster around here, in and around the 6-yard box, which are his more poacher style finishes, which are his more, you know, let me drift into the penalty. Let's get rid of that, thank you very much. Which are his more, let me drift into the penalty area, wait for the ball to come into the box, and he's there to put it into the back of the net. Your more tap-in-y kind of goals. He tends to float into this area when the build-up is in and around the penalty area, and he is expected to just be a striker and be on the end of what's to come. But there have been goals he scores from this area of the pitch, and there's a reason, not just because he wears the number 14 shirt for Newcastle, not just because he's a skillful striker and can play out on the left wing, not just because he's tall, but some of the comparisons to Henry, and listen, you've got to do very well to be a Thierry Henry, right? But stylistically, some like to make that comparison because he's got that outside or inside of the boot finish from quite far out the goal, finding the inside of that net. And as you can see, he's done it quite a few times. Let's highlight it in blue, actually. We'll do it in blue with these finishes over here. Now, when I think he's scoring this goal, what you've seen a lot of is the ball go... Oh, I've got rid of that. Let's open that again. Didn't mean to get rid of all those. There we go. So when you see all these goals, what he's more doing, like I said, he's waiting in that kind of poacher area with these goals that are coming from the right of the penalty spot. But he's also making runs around, in beyond. So when that ball goes over the top, he is timing his run to attack that channel, or he's drifting from the left and he's making that run inside, and it's putting him through on goal to be able to get that finish. He's done it against Newcastle, he's done it against Everton, he did it against Tottenham. There are plenty of goals. You just go on YouTube and watch Isak's goals from last season. There are so many where he has just made that run in beyond, that run in behind, and he's opened his his body up, his foot, and found that far corner, very Henry-esque, as some would say. So it's so interesting that you don't have that more distant goal. Now I'm moving arrows for no reason, there we go. You don't have that more distant goal from the right, from this area of the pitch, but you do have it slightly there. What's interesting, there's only actually one goal that is from outside the penalty area. So let's go back to the stats. When you look here, you've got his 21 goals, 20 of them are coming in the penalty area, only one outside the area. As you can see, 5 penalties at the bottom there. But you can also see that only 6 of them are one-touch finishes. So as much as he's got 20 goals in the penalty area, there are 10 of those goals where he's taken 2 or more touches to put in the back of the net. That is because he's shown in tight areas in and around the penalty area the ability to take a touch, the ability to set himself. If it's not quite placed how he wants, he will just shimmy it onto his better foot or into a better space so he gets a better eye at goal. He's able to do that. He doesn't rush the finish. He's not desperate to get shot away immediately. He's happy to take his time and find that composure in and around goal so he can execute the finish the way he wants. Sometimes that means still seeing 2-3 bodies in front of you when the 6-yard area is there and, you know, getting round them and making a move or a dart that opens the goal up more clearly. And so these stats tell you that there's quite a variation to his goals. Yes, a lot of them in the area, but 6 of them were one-touch finishes. 2 or more of them were 10 of them had 2 or more touches, and 10 of them were to the left of the penalty spot, and 6 were to the right of the penalty spot. 6 of them were run-ins behind, were goals where he has, you know, made that run in to attack the space and actually be through on goal. Now, Kai Havertz has actually added this element to Arsenal a little bit more this season. Jesus didn't do it anywhere near enough for the pace he's got, but Arsenal could certainly do with that dynamic a little bit more in this team, in my opinion. Let's go to some more evidence of that left side channel that he tends to attack by looking here at his heat map for the season. This is Premier League heat map. Now I get it. At first glance, you're going, all right, well, he plays a bit everywhere. And yeah, I get it. There's no clear, massive bias to one side, but there is slightly. So I could be sitting here, I don't know, scraping the bottom of the barrel a bit, you know, trying a bit too hard. To be honest, I don't think I am. I actually think this is evidence that he does want to attack that left channel, and certain players in particular are going to benefit from this. We'll come to that. Let's start with what I mean. In this kind of more central area of the pitch, yeah, I don't think you can say he's more there than there or whatever. Maybe a little bit more in that pocket. Where I'm really looking, if we just clear this, where I'm really looking is in this area here, as you can see. Now, if I just get you to focus on just those, in fact, one way to do that is if I just block all this out. Let's do that again. When you look at those particular channels, I'm sorry, but to me, he clearly favours entering that left channel more than he favours entering that right channel. And again, I think the reason he does it, in particular in these early parts, in the sort of middle third, as he's entering the final third, is because when Newcastle are set up in a block, and let's do it in black because they wear black and white, when they are set up in a mid-block around here, he will be playing as the leading striker, waiting to attack those channels, as we mentioned. But in particular, he's just leaning there because when that ball comes over the top to him, and we can clear some of this now, when that ball comes over the top to him, he wants to take that touch to set himself, and he's in on goal on his favoured right foot to find the far corner and the back of the net. And I think this is something that Arsenal lack, because if we just go to the Arsenal team and we put him up front instead of Kai Havertz, I think him wanting to be slightly more favoured to the left-hand side is good for this team. It's something Zinchenko would benefit from. It's something whatever left 8 we have would benefit from, whether it's Rice, Vieira, a new player, and certainly Martinelli. It wouldn't affect us in build-up because if Arsenal are building up in the 2-4-4 that we did last season, Isak is more than happy being in that side and having space to attack. If you put him, you know, alternating with Martinelli, then you're sort of asking questions of the defenders. Marte can drop in, Isak can pull wide, that's not a problem. And if you just have him up top, at the very top of a 3-2-4-1, you've got Tomiyasu, Zinchenko, whoever is inverting, maybe Timber, and you've still got him leading the line as he would anyway. Now, when Arsenal dropping into a mid-block, this is when again, or a defensive shape in their half, this is again where if the ball is to be won in midfield by Declan Rice, you've already sort of set Isak away. You've got a player there who can run in beyond, can give us a more transitional threat. You could even have, if it's, let's move Kai Havertz into the team, Kai Havertz would probably be up front, wouldn't he? But you could even have a situation in which the team is shifting so that Havertz presses, Isak comes across to support the press, stays quite high, but the midfield 3 reshuffles. So you've still got 2 pressing a little bit, let's pretend they've got the ball, but you've again got Isak just on his way ready to go. And it also means that you can just quite simply get Havertz, Isak, Ødegaard, Partey, Rice all in the team. You can get Isak in a team with an informed Havertz if Martinelli has this season nearer to what he had last season, which is not the season of 2 years ago, where he was absolutely magnificent with 15 non-penalty goals in the Premier League. So there's options, there's different ways to use Isak. That is part of the reason I'm desperate for Arsenal to sign him. It doesn't cement him, it doesn't commit Arteta to one thing next season. I feel like if you sign Gyökeres for 85 million, he's your striker. And you're trying to make Havertz work in midfield or somewhere else just to... And listen, maybe you just got to do that. Maybe you move Havertz to the bench because Gyökeres is the guy. But Havertz was part of a team that won, what was it, 11 wins, 1 draw, 1... whatever it was, that ridiculous run in 2024, Havertz was a part of that. But I think it was 12 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat. Havertz was leading the line for a lot of that. So you don't want to just completely move past that. You want to get a player in that can also aid and facilitate that if that's how we go into next season as well. We don't want too many changes going into next year like we did going into last season. Let's go into some more stats around Alexander Isak, in particular his injury concerns, because a lot of people have used this as well as part of his, well, why would you sign a guy, spend that much money, we're not really convinced you're going to have his availability? We've already got the Zapate, Zinchenko, Tomiyasu, many more. Why would we do this again? I think the injury thing is a little bit blown out of proportion. Let me show you why. With Alexander Isak, he has played, these are his last 5 seasons in all competitions. He has played 40 plus games in 4 of the last 5 campaigns for Sociedad and Newcastle. He's had a total of 5 injuries, 2 in the 21-22 campaign, 1 in the 22-23 campaign, and 2 in the 23-24 campaign. So it's not like he's constantly getting loads of injuries. He's in, he's out, he's back a little bit. Okay, he had 1 injury that kept him out for a few months, 13 games. He missed for Newcastle in the 22-23 campaign. Yeah, okay, that's... Players are allowed to get injured. Kevin De Bruyne gets injured. Players can get injured. That's not that surprising. I just think this idea that he's some like injury-riddled player, we shouldn't go near him, I think is so harsh. He does stay fit, he does stay available, and at the age of 24, he's proven a fitness, in my opinion, when we look at those numbers. He's played at 4 different pro clubs. He's played in La Liga and in the Premier League. I think availability and experience isn't something we should be worrying about at all. I think maybe it's price tag compared to everything else you want to do in the market. Maybe that's where you have doubts over an Isak. But in terms of quality, availability, experience, age, profile, no fears whatsoever. He is absolutely the guy we should be getting. And now I teased at the beginning of this video that we were going to look at other strikers in the rest of the market, because if I felt, visualize this with me, right? If Isak is here, like he is the best player, he's the closest player to world class we can get in this market, and then everyone else is like here, 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 here. Are they all here, here, here? Like Isak, and are they straight there, or is there a little bit of a gap? And this is the thing I really want to ask. I'm going to do something that a guy called Amenya's done. Follow him on X, and he also is on TikTok. He does this great thing, I always love watching it, where he will list like 50 wingers better than a really bad winger, right? Whoever that might be. I want to do the opposite. I'm going to list you a bunch of players that it's plausible we could sign them this summer. I'm not saying we're linked with them, most of them we are, but it's plausible that if we put up the money and nothing ridiculous, we could get them, right? Call them alternatives to explore to an Isak. I'm going to read you this list and tell me if you are 100%, some there's debate for sure, but tell me if you are 100% sure that they are a better fit for Arsenal and that they're a better player than Alexander Isak right now, especially for what it's probably going to cost to get them. Jonathan David, Dominic Solanke, Ivan Toney, Joshua Zirkzee, Randall Kolomuani, Evan Ferguson, João Pedro, Benjamin Sesko, Lois Openda, Gonzalo Ramos, Darwin Nunez, Ollie Watkins, Victor Gyökeres, Dusan Vlahovic, Victor Osimhen. Are you convinced that any one of those is definitely better, and you've got to think about what they're going to cost too, definitely better than Alexander Isak, even if it's going to cost you 100 to 110 million to do it? They say 120, you negotiate them down maybe a little bit. Okay, maybe you say, no, the striker market's not great. Well, let's look at the wingers. Okay, Yeremy Pino, Karim Adeyemi, Brian Mbemo, Johan Bakayoko, Ferran Torres, Karim Mitoma, Pedro Neto, Nico Williams, Eberieze, Michael Olise, Marcus Rashford, Kavicha Kvaratskhelia, Rafael Leao, Rodrigo, Mohamed Kudus. Now, okay, that's a better list, right? I'll give you that. But my point is, people, why spend even 60 million? Even 40 to 50, why spend 60, 70, 80 million on someone if you're not 100% sure when you could spend 110 on the guy you really, really want? That's the point Turkish made on Forever Arsenal. That's the point lots of others have been making as well. Why do that deal when for 30, 40 million more you get the guy you really, really want? I actually think Arsenal fans would stomach signing Alexander Isak and one more player, say a midfielder, and basically keeping Ramsdale and keeping Kieran Tierney as a backup left back, and he can just play when he's available. Genuinely, I think people go, well, if 200 million goes 120 million on a striker and 80 million on the right midfielder, then we're probably happy with that being our business done. Let me know in the comment section below what you think. Now, of course, it's all about what Arsenal, Arteta and Edu want. I'm just telling you what I want and what I think a lot of Arsenal fans want. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Have I convinced you that going above and beyond for Alexander Isak is a better deal than trying to pursue cheaper ones for players if we're not 100% sure they're the guy? Because I don't think the market looks brilliant. I don't think there's an obvious alternative. And if they are looking at other wingers, okay, I can stomach that more. But still, another year without the right nine, another year expecting goals from out wide as well. I don't know. Subscribe to the channel, everyone. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Have I convinced you? I really want to know. Catch you soon.